Good Monday morning, everyone. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. I'm John. I'm here today to talk to you about a few things that are going on. Today is the great day, August 19th, 2024, where the DNC will kick off their major convention today, this evening or this afternoon, in Chicago, the second city that is bracing for thousands to come in as protesters for not only the Palestinian cause, which they continue to shout things that they know nothing about, but they're given permits where the other side, the Israeli side, was not given any permits to do any such thing there. So I'm sure we'll see some conflict in and out of that. The Kamala campaign over the weekend tried to explain her economic stance and what she intends to do, which was tantamount to a pack of lies that someone has given to her as talking points, and she managed to foul that up by not being able to explain any of what she's proposing and where did this come from, because it's exactly the opposite of what she has accomplished, what she has had the opportunity to do. And let's just take this scenario. You have an employee that does a lackluster job at the job given to that person, and a year goes by, 2 years goes by, 3.5 years goes by, and you're all of a sudden anointed into a position that you did not earn to run for a promotion. A promotion putting that person in charge of the entire, well, in this case, company. And they come and ask you for this promotion. And you look at the past record and you say, well, why would we not just get more of the same from you? And why do you want to go up a position when you're not qualified to execute the position you're already in? This is common sense, folks. You don't need a brick house to fall on you to realize that this particular candidate has no wherewithal or no understanding of business or economics, and she's probably relying on somebody that doesn't want to lose their little chair in the near the Oval Office that's giving her the talking points for this, which are major league wrong as far as reducing inflation. It will cause more inflation. This, any businessman will tell you, is not the way to go about strengthening your economy and lowering prices and lowering inflation. Inflation, by the way, that was caused by her signing off spending bills as a tie vote as VP that put us here. Not to mention what's going on at the border. Not to mention anything else that you can put your finger on that she has had any sort of doing as far as something positive in this entire administration, besides covering up the inability of Joe Biden to function in the job as president and the cognitive decline that was mostly evident to everyone, but not up until they put him out to dry in that debate and let him make a fool of himself overseas during the D-Day 80th anniversary celebrations. And just even the other day, coming out of the helicopter and walking in the wrong direction and had to be pulled out of the hedgerows. He and Jill will be speaking tonight to the nation, but I would not expect any apologies or him touting any of his major accomplishments as his term as president, because they're few and far between. No matter what mainstream media tells you, this government, this administration has urinated all over us, and the mainstream media is telling you that don't worry, it's just rain. That's what's going on in this administration right now. And one of the leaders of this administration that has accomplished this is now asking you to promote them to the big position of being head of the free world.
What a maroon.
So, as they say in some of these children's magazines, what's wrong with this picture? It's amusing to a point and sad to a further point, because we are the greatest nation in the world, and it is being systematically dismantled with the start of Barack Hussein Obama and being finished by Joe Biden and Harris, who wants a promotion so she can destroy the country even faster. We need to take stock. I know that there's a grand many people outside there in our listening audience that hate Donald Trump, hate his voice, hate the fact that he's a name caller, hate the fact that he had mean tweets at one time. And hopefully he'll get the message and stop the name calling and stick to the policies that will fix what's wrong with this country right now, bring us back to pursuing the American dream that we once had, and bring us back to a strong economy and border regulations. Stop the name calling and give us your policies, which you have done, Mr. Trump. But stop and listen more, and do not keep on talking. We know what you're capable of. That's the points you need to drive home. And RFK Jr., I don't know what you're doing, but you're not coming out with strong policy arguments against any of this, and I'd like to know why. You had a great many people with some hope that you would bring some semblance of order to the Democratic Party, and you left that, went libertarian, and still are acting very much like a Democrat. So we're in a new week. It's going to be a week of constant in-your-face DNC Hollywood party that we'll be seeing celebrities here to tell us just how great Kamala Harris is and that we need to vote for her.
It's just not right.
This country should be being run by people who merited the position through their works. And as a meritocracy, the person that is running on the Democratic Party right now has been put in there without a single vote. She has very unfavorable ratings as far as likability. There's all kinds of nonsense coming out now about alcohol abuse, and then she picks Mr. That's out there waving his arms like a clown. But that's par for the course, I guess. This Walls guy is something else. What he's done to Minnesota should be enough to tell you all that he's not going to be much better as VP. And we know what we had with Biden, and you're going to get more of the same, only a little further left and a little further lunacy than you've seen with Joe, with Kamala. We're left with not a whole bunch of choices here, but we have to make the choice that will save this country. And we need to make that choice not based on our hatred for the way someone sounds, the way someone talks, because both of these people, in my estimation, have annoying voices and need to say less. Tell us your policies. Tell us the most important part of your policies, which she has not done when she blurted out that she wants to give $25,000 to first-time home buyers to help build houses. That's not going to do anything but inflate the prices of the housing that's on the market today, and there is no incentive for the builders to build cheaper houses at that point. They'll just raise the price by $25,000. You gain nothing with that. It doesn't take a Rhodes Scholar to understand this. Think about it. The other side of the economic coin is that she believes that by controlling prices in a communistic type environment, that foodstuffs will go down in price. That isn't true. It was tried in the 70s, and it's been tried many, many times under the socialistic governments of various nations, which we all understand had collapsed. That's the first thing a dictator does. So, where do we go from here? We listened to a week's worth of pure idealistic nonsense that will come out of Chicago, and all of the talking heads on the TV programs will have something to do for an entire week, and they can pull it apart, put it back together, but they are running a massive cover-up for Kamala Harris right now, and I expect that will continue through the convention. Without a doubt, it will continue. It's a massive cover-up on her inadequacies and her abilities to have functioned in the position of vice president and done it so badly that, in my estimation, does not deserve a promotion and a pay grade change. It's hilarious to watch her. This I'll give you. It's fun. It's fun to watch her. And if these poll numbers indicate anything, it indicates that the mainstream media is doing a wonderful job at propping up the Democratic Party and Kamala Harris. So, Monday, the 19th of August, is the kickoff of DNC and the kickoff of a live fest for 5 days. Joe and Jill will be opening with remarks tonight. which is another slap in the face to poor old Joe to put him up on day one. There's that day one again. So they can get him out of the way and open the party gates after he's done and on his way back to Rehoboth Beach to lay down and sleep. That came, and it also came to light this morning that the congressional hearings that took place on the Biden money situation has come to fruition this morning, I heard, and it's not been verified by me yet, but they're saying now that they're going to start impeachment proceedings against Biden because there have been over $115 million illegally gained by the Biden family, and his involvement in it has now been shown to be true. So we'll see where that goes in the next 5 days. You'll hear nothing about that on MSDNC and NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, Fox. They'll all not say a word about it, I'm sure. Doesn't fit the narrative of the week of celebration that will take place in Chicago, with more protests or as equal amount of protesters in that city as there were in 1968 when they had the last riot. We'll see where it goes. Anyway, I hope you all had a good weekend. It was a very rainy, spotty weekend here, so Kaiser and I did not get out to do any small-town filming due to weather, but I promise you we'll get out soon. We need a break from all of this, and I did spend some time up at the pond and out in the woods with Kaiser over the weekend between the rain. And got to reflect on some things and tried to understand what has happened to our country and where did this hatred for one party drive us to a point to where we are now almost having to support a candidate on the left side that no one can figure out why. I'm sure that Pelosi, Obama, and Schumer are very happy that they got their person put in, and now there may be some buyer's remorse there. The more she can hide from the press and saying anything into a microphone, the better off she is, because she does not put cognitive sentences together that make any sense to most people. But somewhere in her mind, she's saying what she really believes, which is, we don't know. Because they won't interview her. They're keeping her off the interview trail. They're totally heavily scripting what she does say at these rallies that she may get 1,000 people at. So where are these poll numbers coming from is what I'd like to know. So if you know, hit me in the comment section below and let me know what your thoughts are on all of this. And for those of you out there that just cannot stand Donald Trump, and you will not vote for him because of your feelings, your gut feelings that you think he's done wrong or there's a reason that you hate him, put that aside for a minute and look at the policies connected between both candidates right now. who is going to be better for your economy, for your family's cost of living, gasoline, heating oil, and things of that nature, and make your decision based on policies and fixes rather than personalities. Because you're not going to change Donald Trump's personality, and you're certainly not going to, well, the media thinks they can change everything about Kamala, but you can't change someone's demeanor and what they're capable of. But this country right now needs a successful business person to run this country and get it back on track to be the America that we grew up in and still need today. It's disheartening when you have a person running for office that wants to defund the police and wants to give instant citizenship to these millions of people that have crashed through illegally our southern border. How much sense does that make to you? Now, here's another thing. There was a sheriff out of one of the small towns in Texas that I caught his interview this morning. And he was saying that the DMVs, the Department of Motor Vehicles in his area in Texas, if you need to go get your driver's license renewed or you have business at the DMV, you have to wait for hours and hours in line because of the amount of illegal immigrants that are in line there to get their driver's licenses, which they've been allowing them to do, and a Social Security card. And on their way out, there's a tent, a Democratic Party tent, that will sign them up to vote. Do you realize who is in charge of all of that? Let me fill you in if you have a blank there. Her name is Kamala Harris, along with Joe Biden, are the result of this. She wants to make this national law that everybody that's in this country illegally just gets a path to citizenship signed off. And by the way, they can register to vote. We saw this being worked out, and we saw this being implemented, and now it has come to a point where they're doing it and not even bothering to cover it up because they believe that they have sold America a bill of goods, and when she does her little 3-card Monte, you have to find the queen, and the queen is really a serf. There's no changing the spots on that leopard. The crime has been committed against every rule in this Constitution about allowing the illegals to be housed, given money for nothing, and now citizenship for just showing up. How do you think that makes the past immigrants that spent time on Ellis Island and entered this country through reams of paperwork and applied for green cards, which sometimes took years, and these people walk in, get a driver's license, a voting registration, and a Social Security card so they can suck further down what is left, in, if anything, in our Social Security coffers. Because make no mistake, they have raped Social Security and all our government services to send money to the Ukraine, which was on a merry-go-round back to some of our politicians. Anyone who would trust Zelensky with $5 is an idiot. This guy has stopped his elections, didn't want any elections there. He's a dictator. Joe wanted to be a dictator, but he didn't have help. Kamala is even further left than Bernie Sanders or Joe ever thought of being. And now all of a sudden they want to whitewash all that. For what? Who benefits from her getting into office besides her? You certainly aren't going to look at her opposition and say, well, he's in it for the money, because he's not. He's in it because he, like us, see what's happening to this country and want to fix it. But yet he's not a likable person to most. And the off-putting section to him can be fixed if he would just stop talking. Learn to make your point and then listen. When you do that, because Donald Trump, this election is only yours to lose. If you continue with the name calling and all of the stuff that turn people away from you, you need everybody on your side to do what you plan to do and what you're telling us the solutions from these problems and how you're going to implement them. We all know, we're all able to see now what was pulled over our eyes for 3.5 years, and I will be damned if I could vote for anybody that will continue this clown show for another 4 years. And now she says on the campaign trail the other day that she wants 8 years. Could you imagine where this country will be? We'll be a third world nation. It's a crime. It's a crime we have to pray does not happen. We have to pray for our nation, pray for our leaders, pray for our enemies to come to their senses before we end up in a war that we cannot recover from, or an economy that's so far in the toilet that we won't be able to feed ourselves. If you let her fool with the foodstuffs like she's talking about, corporations will go out of business or supply will become so short that you will not be able to find that loaf of bread. Retailers have to pass on extended costs. The extended cost in some of the goods today are directly related to our transportation system. The war in the Ukraine, and directly related to the stoppage of shipping through the Suez Canal due to the Hamas-Israeli conflict. These things have to be fixed along with not price control. And no retailer is gouging anybody. They're just trying to recoup their losses. If you add 3 to 4% to a product, this pen, it has to be passed on. You cannot continue to sell this pen at $1 if it's costing you $1.10 to put on the shelf. so you have to increase the price of this pen to recoup your costs. And then your margins that used to be 30% are now eroded down to 10%. But your overhead didn't reduce by 10% or 5%. It increased by 20%, 18%. Just electricity alone. Rents on storefronts today are astronomical, especially if you look at New York, Chicago, LA, San Francisco. Rents are up. Water bills are up. Garbage collection is up. Electricity is up 18%. Where does that retailer, how does he pay that and still sell you items at prices that existed 5 years ago? Can't be done. Not if you want to stay in business. But these are things that Joe Biden and the Democratic Party never understood. They know how to spend money. They know how to throw money away on stupid projects and give it away to our enemies rather than apply it to our infrastructure and struggling people that are actually citizens of this country. Born and raised here, and in some cases worked all their life very hard to get their Social Security, and then it's taxed on top of that. And if you or anybody else believes that a Democrat will make anything different, they haven't proven that in how long? So what makes you think that the day one that takes place after Kamala is elected, all will be changed? All her ideas are changed? It's a shell game, a 3-card Monte being played before your very eyes, and don't be fooled by it. And this guy Walz is probably even further left than Kamala. He bounces around with her like a happy idiot. It's crazy. She's taken a lot of direction, I guess, from Hillary Clinton with regard to the hate for Donald Trump, that she's not entitled to have the same hate. But she's loaned her some pantsuits. Actually, Hillary pulled off the pantsuit a little better, in my estimation. But enough of all this political stuff. We'll see what comes out. It's coming. The DNC will be in full-blown bloom by 5 o'clock tonight. And then we have all the way to Friday to listen to the media tell us what a wonderful show it was. It's a better show than when Barack Hussein Obama was running. That was another smoke and mirror election that we had. And unfortunately, we had enough people in this country to elect them twice. Hopefully, those same people will realize that Kamala Harris is no Barack Hussein Obama in any way, shape, or form. She works for him. That's about it. So with that, we're going to say have a great rest of the Monday. Come on back to the Kaiser Report tomorrow morning. Hopefully we'll have something funny for you or fun to talk about. The weather here is, as I told you earlier, raining, so we're not going to be out and about too much today. But if we do, we'll have a camera with us, and we'll get Kaiser to pose for a few shots. But wish you all a very, very happy day. Do not forget to pray for our leaders. Pray for this country. Pray for an election that goes in the right direction, and pray that God guides the hand of the voters going to the polls. Which brings me to one more thing. If your mind is already made up, please, when early voting hits your area, vote early, get your vote in, because I'm afraid the day of voting, we're going to have machines down, electric failures, this, that, and the other thing, because they're going to cheat in every possible way, and they've already proven this. So please, if you already have your mind fixed, do early voting. Get it in, get it registered, and hope for the best. God bless you all. Have a great rest of the day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning. And with that, I am going to say bye-bye now. Cheers.